An absolutely massive OTA update has come to Marvel Snap, adjusting the balance of key meta-defining cards while buffing up some cards that needed some love. There's a lot to talk about today, so let's get started talking about the biggest bad of them all, Galactus. Galactus enjoyers are gonna lament at the fact that a massively heavy-handed nerf has come down on Galactus, a 2-power nerf from 6-7 to 6-5. This is huge because, well, you need to win the location to trigger the Galactus effect, and 2-power is a very significant change. This is a massive nerf to this card. Now, I think the reason why this is happening is because even only at a 7.5% meta share, Galactus is a very polarizing card. It's extremely frustrating to play against. Its win rate hovering at about 52% is not crazy, but it's the cube rate. It's actually got a really good cube rate. So its performance metrics, especially in specific lists, including those with Goliath, have really started to exceed the metrics that Second Dinner is kind of keeping track of. So as a result, we got this nerf. It's unfortunate. I think that Galactus, although frustrating, was a little overtuned maybe. I would have expected maybe a 6-6, but 6-5 is a very heavy-handed nerf. So this is going to really impact Galactus enjoyers and their ability to use this card. A very significant change here because anytime Galactus is a key component of the meta feels a little different. Whether or not that's a good or bad thing is a whole other conversation, but deck building considerations to ensure that you can counter Galactus become important, like Polaris raises in value, Cosmos become more prevalent. So the meta changes, and now with Galactus gone, you're going to see that shift another direction, and it had to happen. People were really frustrated with Galactus, but honestly, a very surprisingly strong nerf here. Moving on to the next card, another surprising nerf. I suspected they were going to nerf Kitty Pryde. Looking into October season with Elsa Bloodstone and some others, you can see that potentially Kitty Pryde is going to be an absolutely incredible card in that meta, and it looks like they're taking a preemptive attack on this amazing one drop. And it's so crazy to think that Kitty Pryde has had multiple massive nerfs. The original version of Kitty Pryde, I've joked about it on the Snapchat, was like totally broken, where you could keep it on the board, you can control it back if you wanted to. How you kind of buffed up the Angelas and the Bishops, it's just so good. And then it goes from that to what we had originally to the nerf from 2-power to 1, and then now again another 2-power nerf. Like, this is just crazy. It's an immense nerf to a card that, I mean, had a 20% meta share. It's completely just destroying the 1-cost meta. Everyone wants to play Kitty Pryde. So many decks revolve around Kitty Pryde. Its win rate almost 54%. Cube rate's very solid. So yes, the card was performing exceptionally well. And I guess Second Dinner had to do something about it. But that isn't to say the card's dead. There are going to be some synergistic cards coming out in October, which might provide Kitty Pryde with some room to play. Now, here's a change I'm sure a lot of you weren't expecting. I wasn't expecting it, but a buff to Psylocke, going from a 2-1 to a 2-2, and it's pretty cool. They're trying to differentiate these, ramp-style cards, and unfortunately, Psylocke was a very poor performer. At a 2% meta share, a negative cube rate, a 46% win rate, completely disastrous. Now, there's a couple things to notice here about Psylocke. One is that the win rate's being dragged down by the Mr. Negative usage. Psylocke is a key component of Mr. Negative decks, and those decks are garbage. And so the result is that the win rate drops down. The most successful decks featuring Psylocke were those that had Thanos and the control elements, like you would basically play Time Stone or Psylocke into an early Professor X with Jeff, so that you can lock down locations and then try to outtrade the second location with your Thanos or whatever it might be. So Psylocke had a role to play in those decks, and those decks generally had a positive win rate. Well, they did. They were really good decks. In fact, Thanos got nerfed because of it. So Psylocke getting a little bit of love here provides you with some additional options with regards to ramp. I like the change. 2-1 was always a pretty heavy-handed kind of, I don't want to say nerf, but it sucked to play Psylocke, especially if you didn't quite have a clean ramp target. So Psylocke as a 2-2 feels a little less risky, so I like the change. It's a good change. Squirrel Girl going from a 1-1 to a 1-2. Now, this is interesting from a couple of different angles. First of all, a Series 1 card getting buffed. You'd love to see it. A little love for the Zoo enjoyers in Pool 1 and 2. It only runs a 45% win rate, negative cube rate, and meta share 4.5%, which is kind of higher than you might expect. But because a lot of death-based decks were kind of using Squirrel Girl to feed into death, especially since now Death Wave is not necessarily a thing. Well, I mean, it kind of is now. It's coming back with Mobius and Mobius, but that's a different conversation. I like this change for a couple reasons. One, it buffs up the Zoo decks that actually want Squirrel Girl out there. Two, it makes the destruction of the Squirrel Girl itself feed into Null better, which kind of feeds into that archetype. But also sometimes maybe you don't want to destroy Squirrel Girl. And now you have a decision to make. Do I want Squirrel Girl in which location? You're getting an extra power versus the Squirrel itself. That's notable. That is notable, right? And the other side to this is that's kind of interesting is that they're going to be releasing a cosmetic bundle, which is going to feature the first ever tokens for the, art for the tokens, like the squirrels themselves. So kind of interesting timing to give Squirrel Girl a little bit of a buff before a bundle comes out. But hey, I'm not going to complain. I think the card needed it. 45% win rate, kind of disastrous. So I like the change. It's a good one. And, you know, hey, who doesn't love Squirrel Girl, right? Low-key, one of the most powerful heroes in Marvel lore, who just tends to beat, and hey, I've learned recently that Squirrel Girl tends to beat pretty much every big bad out there, so don't underestimate the Squirrel Girl. Then we got a absolutely massive change. I'm actually so disappointed about this change. This is the one that I actually I'm a little tilted on. Snowguard, which is not imaged here, but Snowguard didn't actually get changed. It's the eagle and the bear, both getting nerfed. What happened is going from a 2-3 to a 3-3 for the hawk and a 2-3 to a 3-4 for the bear is kind of bad. Like, it feels awful to do that. Like, I know you're thinking, Alex, that's a 3-4. That's a pretty good stat line, but it was just, it's a little unfortunate. And what happens here is that, like, you're getting these Loki strays. I hate that this is happening. I really don't like the fact that Loki, which is a very good archetype with a very powerful card, just had Mobius release, which should take some heat off it. The cards that have been benefiting Loki, Collector, Snowguard, have been taking these stray bullets, which effectively take them out of other archetypes and just try to limit Loki. That drives me nuts. I really do not like the fact that Snowguard got nerfed this early. I don't like it. They should have allowed Snowguard more time to breathe. Mobius just got released a couple days ago. I don't understand why you have to attack a card like this that was just in the spotlight, was garbage since release, and has only been relevant for like 2 weeks. Why did we just get 2 weeks of Snowguard? Why did this have to happen? Like, I understand, okay, maybe they said in the developer note, which I didn't have room for on the page here, that it was the eagle that was overperforming, so they gave a little bit of extra love to the bear. But listen, I just don't buy it. Yes, the meta share is 7.1%, but that's not because of Snowguard itself. It's because of Loki. It's because of Loki's meta relevance, and Snowguard's just a really good play into Loki. And that doesn't really change here because you still just change these two cards into whatever the hell Loki wants. You don't even use the tokens as what they're intended to use half the time, right? So what you've done here is you've taken a 53% win rate card, a very okay cube rate card, a meta share high because of Loki, and you've basically just nullified it in other lists. It just feels bad. Why didn't we allow Snowguard more time to be an actual location correction card, a location manipulating card? It's a Loki card right now. And now we took another stray bullet for Loki. So yeah, I don't like this change at all. But again, I don't have the internal statistics that Second Dinner might have, but this one really kind of bothered me because I feel like it was a heavy-handed attack on Loki, and you're attacking Loki from these other vectors instead of just dealing with the core problem. And again, we've had Mobius for 2 days. Mobius is going to eat into Loki's win percentage. So Snowguard, I mean, the statistics that I see, I don't know if Snowguard was a problem, but unfortunately, it just got nerfed. So rip to everyone who just spent their tokens on getting Snowguard or rolled caches for it. It's kind of unfortunate, but that's the reality. Not a fan of this one. But anyways, we'll see you in that next video. I think that, you know, the OTA patches always change up the meta, so I'm excited to see what comes next in Marvel Snap. We've got another video if you're interested in seeing more content. We'll see you on the next Marvel Snap video.